Lauren Cozart. Come on up, Lauren. Have you representing yourself against the bill?
I am. I come here today against this bill, not mainly for myself. I'm a former Child Protective Services investigator for Travis County. I would sit in people's rooms, interviewing them for cases of child abuse time after time again. I got to see firsthand what happens when an unwanted pregnancy gets carried out and the baby comes, and it's not pretty. I'm forever traumatized for the brief amount of time I was an investigator. I no longer am one, but I'll never forget it. I'm really concerned about what's happening with Texas. I'm a very proud Texan, and the more I look at what's happening with the legislature and abortion control and reproductive choice for women, I fear that we're not really concerned with Texas families, because I guarantee you Texas families do not benefit from the lack of reproductive choice for women. Not only for the people who didn't want their children, but the women who do want their children. For the families that do want them, I sat in rooms where cockroaches were crawling over my legs as I waited and talked, and this woman cried. Several women. This happened over and over again. These women would cry because they were working minimum wage jobs. Our welfare system was not providing them enough to feed their family, to pay their rent. I had a client almost get evicted. They were good moms. Most CPS cases that get called they're not child abuse. So most of my cases, most of the women I was exposed to, they loved their kids. They were doing the best they could for their kids, but they were in severe poverty. And the idea that to have another kid, another mouth to feed, more clothes to buy, that would crush them. And what you're doing today with these bills, if you choose to pass it along, you're hurting these women. You're not protecting families, and any kind of moral spin you put on it, it's not good. There's no benefit. I wish I could be more eloquent how I speak about this, but I just want to scream. I'm never going to forget all those women who cried in front of me. I'm never going to forget their children, some of them special needs. I'm never going to forget seeing a child with cockroaches crawling on its crib because the family couldn't afford pest control. That's why I'm here today. I'm not really here for myself. Quite honestly, I'm a lesbian. I don't really need hopefully I'll never get raped or anything, but unless I get the next Jesus in me, I'm not getting pregnant. So I'm here for the moms I met with CPS. I'm here for the baby. I had to watch a video. All CPS investigators watch a video. It's about 10 minutes long of a young infant girl being abused physically. Never going to forget her cries. And I plead with you, if you're like me, if you care about Texas families, if you want the best, don't limit women's right to choose. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Ash Hall, here testifying for yourself and against the bill.
Correct. Right. My name is Ash Hall. I am representing myself, and I am testifying against HB 1660, SB 5, whatever's coming our way next.
This
16
is House
specifically,
bill.
I realize.
You have to limit your testimony to House Bill 16, okay?
Mm-hmm. It's funny because actually the person before me mentioned her lesbian identity. I come before you today with what you would call a non-repetitive story and a unique perspective in that I loosely do represent the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community, and we are very much affected by this bill and the bill preceding it and the one that is coming up. We have a plague within this country. We like to point it out in other ones, but it is a problem here in this country, in this state. I witnessed it myself in the city of Waco. It's called corrective rape, It's in the context of my community, when a straight person decides that they can take it upon themselves to turn a person's sexual orientation from LGBT to straight by coercively raping them until the straight person is convinced that they have turned them straight. I wish I was making this up, but it is something that has happened here, and I have been in a position where I have had to defend myself from that. It happened to me when I attended Baylor University for a single year 4 years ago. I managed to fight this person off, so thankfully I was not raped, but the day that that happened, I realized I needed to start caring about this issue, about pro-choice, about abortion, about all of this stuff, because if I had gotten pregnant in addition to being a lesbian at a private Christian university, there would have been nobody that I could tell it to within the university. As it was, I couldn't explain that somebody had tried to sexually assault me, because if the school had found out, I would have been expelled. But if I had been pregnant in addition to that, the only hope that I would have had would have been the Planned Parenthood or the abortion clinic that is in Waco, Texas. As it is, we're looking at a bill that's going to shut down that clinic for sure. I looked it up. Waco is going to be one of the first ones that crumbles. My community can't really afford to have bills that limit the way abortion works in Texas. As it is, if one of us gets pregnant, we have to worry about the fact that we can't actually get jobs here without worrying about getting fired for being LGBT. We have to worry about the fact that we cannot get married to our partners, so if one of us were to get pregnant somehow or some way, whether through rape or on purpose, we do not get the same benefits as straight couples to raise these children. We have to worry about the fact that, especially for transgender folks in particular, there is a high incidence of violence against us, and so if we try to go through our lives pregnant and happen to get assaulted, then our children are going to be injured with us. And I don't really think it matters what sort of time limit you set on when people can or cannot have abortions. The pain of my community combined is so much greater than any pain a clump of cells in somebody's uterus can feel. And the last thing we need to worry about at this point is whether or not we can get an abortion if somebody decides to correctively rape us. And not to mention the fact that it's not even just an issue for lesbian and bisexual women in my community. There are also transgender men who are transitioning from female to male. If they are doing hormone therapy in addition to being pregnant from a corrective rape, that's going to be 2 ruined lives at a time. My community can't afford for this bill to pass. Thank you for hearing me out.
That's me. Hi, my name is Alkamil Jackson, and I'm a constituent of Representative Neustadt. Thank you, Chair and Committee, for allowing me to testify. Yes, that's correct. And I've been here since 1:30, so I'm really excited that I get to speak to you on this. I'm testifying against this legislation for fear it will harm, not help women. When restrictions such as these are enforced, women don't stop seeking abortions. They are merely forced to either face more hurdles in seeking a safe abortion or inflict harm to themselves through illegal, unsafe methods performed themselves or by unqualified individuals. Proponents of this bill refer to fetal pain as the reason for proposing such legislation. But what about the pain women feel when they have a punctured bladder or uterus, severe hemorrhaging, or other bodily trauma caused by self-induced abortions? What about when women die from these kinds of situations? Originally, I was going to read an excerpt from Sarah Weddington's book, A Question of Choice. As some of you know, Sarah Weddington is the lawyer who argued and won Roe v. Wade. And it involves a lot of anecdotes about women throwing themselves downstairs to prevent unwanted pregnancies, or, using all kinds of methods that just sound unsafe and fatal, and that's because they are. but I don't know that it's entirely appropriate anymore. One of my friends who was here earlier left because she had to go home to take care of her child, a child who, when she was 20 weeks pregnant with him, was told that she might have a fatal condition with him. I don't remember what it was called, but that she wouldn't know until she came back several weeks later. And then a lot of women have, on both sides of the argument, have used the word choice to talk about this issue. Some women who are anti-choice said that they chose to have their pregnancy and that they were happy about that decision. Some women say they chose to have an abortion and they were happy about that decision. The optimal word here is choice. Women need to have this choice and they need to have control over their own bodies. Thank you.